Considering the Bibbo is the one that suggested the traffic study, and the only data we really have available to us is the 4,500 cars a day on 403 and the 15,000 cars on Route 9. We don't have anything really based on this end, so I think the board should request that a traffic study be done. I'd also like to point out that the CAC is recommending that the planning board request a copy of the petroleum bulk storage application for our review. And then I won't go over all the details of the Bibbo aspect, but the last time you were here, I had asked for certain documentation for DEC permits and stuff like that, and I noticed nothing has come in, so. But as they indicated, you had to have documentation that the tanks came out and stuff like that. And I'm trying to make sure that we have a public record. I just want to make sure we have documentation in our package that all these I's and T's are being dotted on this project. All right? So, and with that, it is a public hearing, and I'll let the public.
Just taking off from where Mike finished, just to clarify this, all the issues that are on the Bibbo report, 18 of them, have they all been addressed, or how many have not been addressed? October 17th.
Most of them.
If you get a chance, I'd like a listing of what has not been addressed to this point. We don't have to have it right now, but. Are there any other questions from George?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 9 on the Bibbo is talking about impervious surface, and how much coverage do we have on this? What percentile?
I think it's 85. It's high. 85.4.
Is that going to be one of the variances that you're going to need from the ZBA?
Yes.
Thank you.
Tim? Thomas?
Are there building permits for the improvements that have been made on the site?
There's a building permit for the building. There's no building permit for the canopy. Is that correct? That's right.
That's not a structure that needs a building permit?
It does.
It does need a. Are there any violations in place? So there are violations. I just want to make sure the board understands and that the public understands that this activity, in my opinion and in our council's opinion, is a change of use. It is subject to site plan decision by the planning board because it is a change of use. The change of use basically is a relocation of pumps from the front to the back, and under the definition of change in use in section 175.20 of the code, and section 175.35 indicates that planning board action is required. Now, how a building permit was granted, I don't know. This board has no control over that. Any comments you might have or the public might have regarding how a building permit was granted, take it up with the town board.
There's nothing. No, before we go any further, the building permit was issued for the building. I didn't say it was issued for the canopy. I said it was issued for the building.
Understand.
So in his defense, in the building inspector's...
I'm not attacking the building inspector.
No, I know. But, Tim, I have a building permit to do the building.
I got you. And
okay.
that appears...
How it was issued. I went in and I rehabbed the building. That's what I asked for, the building permit.
And that appears to be, if under the limited view of prior pre-existing non-conforming activities, a perfectly viable issuance of a building permit.
Right.
But I would expect that there would be questions as to how other improvements are taking place on the site without a building permit, and I want to make sure that the planning board understands and the public understands that however that may have happened on the canopy, it's not in this board's purview to do anything about it. It's in the building department's purview, and that's a matter that the public, if it has a question or issue, can take it up with the building department or the town board. because I expect that there might be concerns about that.
Isn't that a kind of parsing the laws a little bit? I mean, it's been a gas station for how many years? 50 years? It's still a gas station. Now, how can it be a change of use? Just because you moved the gas pumps?
Yes. If you look at a definition of change in use, section 17520, and I think it's pretty clear.
I didn't read it.
I read it.
I should have read it before I asked the question. Maybe I'll take my question back.
Well, I think it's something that bears review. Change in use under the definitions in the Philipstown zoning code is any change in the use or occupancy of land, buildings, or other structures when one or more of the following occurs: off-street parking or loading space requirements applicable to the altered use differ from those from the preceding use. Now, there's parking changes that are taking place on this property. That's one of the things. The new...
By the same token, since there is a legal definition of a change of use, and the fact, along with that, that the building has been a gas station for 50 years, it does behoove the board to use common sense and to not start throwing red flags all over the place because one has a legal definition, because what you've got is, you've still got the same essential use from the standpoint of a practical sense.
Well,
so I think if you apply that, that kind of reasoning and that kind of sense, I think that's the kind of fairness that moves us forward.
Well, the reason I bring this up, George, is because the planning board's primary duty is to administer the zoning code. It's about the law. It's about administering the law. Fairness is a nice thing, and it's terrific when it works out, but there's a law that's been drafted, and your responsibility is to uphold that, and that's why I'm reading this legal definition. You must make your determination based on compliance with these laws.
That's right.
Fairness aside. And I think that some people might feel that the property's been substantially improved. It was an eyesore for many years. It's an old use that's now going to be continued with improvements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the reason that this is before you is because of the legal definitions that are in this code. And I'm reading this because I want to make sure that we all understand what our duty, your duty and obligation
Our
is.
duty and our interpretations as well.
So